ever pondered what could cause a nation to wage war against itself? This is a question that those studying the American Civil War often find themselves grappling with. To understand the roots of this profound conflict, we must first delve into the contentious issues of the time. Chief among these was the contentious issue of slavery. The South, with its agrarian economy, was heavily reliant on the institution of slavery for its prosperity. On the other hand, the North, increasingly industrial and urban, was moving towards a society where slavery was viewed as morally unacceptable. However, the rift between the North and South extended beyond the issue of slavery. At its core, the conflict was also about states' rights. The South championed the idea that states should have the power to govern themselves and make their own laws, a belief that was directly threatened by the North's push towards a strong federal government. In addition to these ideological differences, there were stark economic and social contrasts between the North and South. The North was rapidly industrializing with bustling cities and booming factories, while the South remained largely rural, its economy grounded in agriculture and slave labor. This economic disparity only fueled the flames of discord, driving a wedge deeper between the two regions. The election of Abraham Lincoln in 1860 was the final straw that broke the camel's back. Lincoln was a known opponent of slavery, and his election was viewed by many in the South as a direct threat to their way of life. In response, 7 Southern states made the drastic decision to secede from the Union, believing they were better off governing themselves than remaining under what they saw as Northern tyranny. This pivotal moment marked the beginning of a time of national crisis. The country was on the brink of war, a war that would pit brother against brother and state against state. And so the stage was set for the most devastating conflict ever to occur on American soil. As the nation divided, the first shots were fired at Fort Sumter on April 12, 1861. This marked the beginning of a brutal and bloody conflict that would rage for 4 long years. The war's early stages saw the Battle of Bull Run, a shocking Confederate victory that shattered the North's hopes of a swift resolution. It was a harsh wake-up call to the Union, a stark reminder that this war would not be won easily or quickly. Then came the Battle of Antietam, the single bloodiest day in American history. The sheer scale of carnage was a chilling testament to the destructive power of war, a gruesome spectacle that laid bare the true cost of conflict. The tide began to turn at Gettysburg, a pivotal turning point that saw the Union score a much-needed victory. Over 3 grueling days in July 1863, Union forces under General George Meade repelled the Confederate Army of Northern Virginia, led by Robert E. Lee, in what would become the war's most infamous battle. The South was dealt a further blow with Sherman's march to the sea. The Union's scorched earth policy wrought devastation across Georgia, crippling the Confederacy's ability to wage war and marking a significant shift in the balance of power. Throughout the conflict, both sides employed a range of strategies. The Union's Anaconda Plan sought to suffocate the South into submission, while the Confederates relied on their superior knowledge of the terrain and the hope of foreign intervention. Amid the chaos, President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, a landmark decree that declared enslaved people in Confederate-held territory free. This bold move not only fundamentally altered the war's nature, but also its purpose, transforming it into a struggle for human freedom. However, just days after the war's conclusion, the nation was rocked by the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. His untimely death sent shockwaves through a country already reeling from the toll of war, casting a long shadow over the hard-won peace. In the face of countless casualties and immense suffering, the war finally came to an end on April 9, 1865. But the scars it left were far from healed. With the end of the war came a new beginning, but one riddled with challenges and questions. The ashes of conflict gave rise to an era of reconstruction, a time of rebuilding and reconciling. In the South, the landscape was littered with the ruins of a society built on bondage, now compelled to rebuild itself without the crutch of slavery. Across the nation, the wounds of division ran deep, demanding a balm of unity and healing. The Reconstruction era was a time of profound change, a crucible in which the fate of the nation was reforged. The South, once a bastion of slavery, was now a laboratory for democracy. But this democratic experiment was not without its trials. Tensions ran high as newly freed African Americans sought to claim their rightful place in society, while many white Southerners resisted these changes, leading to a tumultuous and often violent struggle for equality. Yet, amidst the turmoil, the seeds of progress were sown. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, known collectively as the Reconstruction Amendments, were monumental strides towards equality. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery. The 14th granted citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States, including former slaves, and the 15th secured the right to vote for African American men. These amendments marked a turning point, a declaration that the ideals of liberty and justice were not the exclusive province of a privileged few, but the birthright of all Americans. The legacy of the Civil War continues to echo through American society and culture. From our collective memory of the conflict, we draw lessons of courage, sacrifice, and the indomitable spirit of a nation. The war's aftermath, marked by the struggle for civil rights and the ongoing quest for racial equality, remains a poignant chapter in our nation's story. Its echoes can be heard in the voices of those who continue to fight for justice and equality, reminding us of the enduring struggle and the resilience of the American spirit. The Civil War, a conflict that reshaped a nation, remains a poignant reminder of the cost of freedom and the enduring spirit of a people. In the span of 4 years, the Civil War forever altered the course of American history. A conflict ignited by deep-rooted tensions over slavery and states' rights, it was a war that saw brother pitted against brother, tearing the fabric of the nation apart. From the first shots at Fort Sumter to the surrender at Appomattox, the Civil War was marked by key events that tested the resilience and determination of the American people. In its aftermath, the war left a legacy of emancipation and reconstruction, sowing the seeds of a new America. The abolition of slavery, the preservation of the Union, and the shift towards a more centralized government were significant outcomes that shaped the country we know today. The Civil War, a tumultuous chapter in American history, holds a mirror up to our past, reminding us of the struggle for freedom and equality. Though the battles have long since ended, the echoes of the Civil War continue to resonate, a testament to a time of turmoil, transformation, and ultimately unity.